Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his night behind bars inside a facility that is being called hell on earth.
Desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow.
Told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
Oh, he's out of luck. No stake for him. Yeah, he is on suicide watch. This guy thought he would have went home.
The internet is in absolute chaos right now as shocking reports surface about Diddy, the music mogul and cultural icon, breaking down emotionally as guards dragged him back to prison from a hospital visit. This is not the kind of news anyone saw coming, especially for someone as influential and seemingly untouchable as Diddy. The details are still emerging, but what we know so far paints a picture of a man under immense pressure, facing challenges that have brought him to a breaking point. Let's dive deep into what's happening, the context behind it, and what this could mean for Diddy's future.
Sean Diddy Combs reportedly underwent treatment in a hospital as he continues to await trial. Page 6, the 55-year-old was transported from Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn, the federal prison where he was sent following his September arrest, late January 30th to undergo an MRI and was then soon returned to police custody later that night. The outlet cites a source as saying that the medical scan was authorized because his knee was bothering him. E! News has reached out to reps for Diddy and the Federal Bureau of Prisons for comment and has not heard back. The Grammy winner's attorney, Mark Agnafilo, tells TMZ, quote, "I cannot comment on anything related to prisoner movements. Also, I'm not commenting on anything related to possible medical issues." Diddy had shared in a since-deleted Instagram post in 2017 that he had undergone his third knee surgery in a year. The Federal Bureau of Prisons has neither confirmed nor denied the reports about Diddy's hospital visit. A spokesperson for the government agency tells the New York Post, quote, "For privacy, safety, and security reasons, we do not comment on the conditions of confinement for anyone in our custody to include medical status or medical trips." The hospital visit allegedly took place hours after federal prosecutors filed a new criminal indictment against the rap mogul, accusing him of coercing 2 additional women into commercial. In the new filing, as the original September indictment had referenced 1 female victim. His lawyer has accused the prosecutors of making a major error in the new indictment.
First, let's rewind and set the stage. Over the past year, Diddy has been embroiled in a series of legal battles and controversies that have shaken his reputation. From lawsuits to federal investigations, the once untouchable mogul has found himself in the crosshairs of the justice system. While the specifics of these cases are still unfolding, it's clear that the weight of these allegations has been taking a toll on him. Now, this latest incident, where he was reportedly dragged back to prison from a hospital, has added another layer of drama to an already chaotic situation. According to sources, Diddy was taken to the hospital for an undisclosed medical issue. While the exact nature of his condition hasn't been revealed, it's believed to be serious enough to warrant immediate medical attention. After receiving treatment, he was reportedly being escorted back to prison by guards when things took a dramatic turn.
So breaking news right now, Larry, I am just getting word. People magazine says it's got a source on the inside that tells them that P. Diddy's on the same information. Are they saying it was possible?
Hey, real quickly, all that commissary stuff, he's not getting any of that because people in the shoe have an abbreviated list. So he's out of luck. No stake for him. All of a sudden, he didn't get bond. Remember, the first night that he was there, he was like an overnight guest. When they told his bond hearing, now they checked him into the system, and reality has hit him. And I understand that he has a shrink coming by his cell to see him several times a day. And now there's talk about putting him in, it's like a bubble. It's like a cell that has like a plexiglass wall in it where they have inmates watching you. That's actually their job, to keep an eye on error that, I guess some warden told you this. There are sentenced inmates there. They're called cadre inmates. They don't have to be white-collar inmates, but they're doing maintenance on the building. And the problem, why there's a lot of violence there, they have housing units. And they're mixing bank robbery. And this is why Diddy, he can't go into a regular housing unit because somebody will take him out for sure. Somebody's gonna get a lot of street credibility out of this. People that are doing substantial time that know they're never getting out. They'll just kill the guy. No questions asked.
Witnesses claim that Diddy became visibly emotional, breaking down in tears and pleading with the guards as they led him away. This raw and unfiltered moment has sparked a firestorm of reactions online, with fans and critics alike trying to make sense of what's happening. Now, let's talk about the legal troubles that have brought Diddy to this point. Over the past few months, he's been facing multiple lawsuits and investigations, some of which involve serious allegations. While it's important to note that Diddy has denied these claims and maintains his innocence, the sheer volume of legal challenges has undoubtedly put him under immense stress. The combination of public scrutiny, legal battles, and now a health scare seems to have pushed him to his limit, resulting in the emotional breakdown we're hearing about. But let's not lose sight of the human element here. Diddy is a larger-than-life figure who has been in the public eye for decades. From his groundbreaking music career to his ventures in fashion, television, and beyond, he's been a...
Diddy Combs has been denied bail in connection with faces. And as Les Trump reports, the music mogul who once traveled by private jet to all those mansions is now in a jail that is notorious for its bad living conditions.
Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs spent his first night behind bars inside a facility that is being called hell on earth. The Metropolitan Detention Center in Brooklyn is notorious for its appalling living conditions and rampant violence. How bad is it inside this federal sides and numerous stabbings and lockdowns in recent years? It's so out of control inside that 4 federal judges are reportedly refusing to send any more prisoners here. Donald Trump's former fixer, Michael Cohen, spent a harrowing year in federal custody. He says for someone used to a life of luxury like Diddy, prison life is a severe shock.
You have a desk, you have a plastic chair, you have your bed with a 1.5-inch mattress, no pillow, and you also have a locker. So you basically have 3 feet by 5 feet to move around. So you have a basic 15 square feet. It is a horrible, horrible place.
Diddy's lawyers were so eager to keep him out of jail, they offered his palatial $48 million home in Miami Beach and his private jets as bail. Today, they are even offering to restrict female visitors to his homes, except for his mother, daughters, and the mothers of his children if he is released. They told the judge the jail he was being sent to is dreadful, dirty, inhuman, and an ongoing tragedy.
How's your dad doing? How's your dad doing?
Family members appeared somber as they arrived at federal court in Manhattan today in another attempt to get out on bail.
To see him in such a vulnerable state is a stark reminder that no one is immune to the pressures of life, no matter how high they climb. Fame and fortune may shield you from some struggles, but they also come with their own set of challenges: scrutiny, expectations, and the constant pressure to maintain an image. Social media has been flooded with reactions to this news. Some people are expressing shock and sadness, while others are questioning the circumstances surrounding his arrest and hospitalization. Conspiracy theories are already starting to circulate, with some suggesting that Diddy is being targeted or that there's more to the story than meets the eye. While it's natural for speculation to arise in situations like this, it's important to separate fact from fiction and avoid jumping to conclusions. The truth is, we don't have all the details yet, and until we do, it's crucial to approach this situation with a level head. One thing that's undeniable is the toll that fame and legal troubles can take on a person's mental health.
According to reports from the New York Post, Diddy was transported from MDC in the cover of darkness at about 10 p.m. on January 30th. He was taken to a Brooklyn hospital for an MRI after reporting issues with his knee. This actually isn't the first time we've heard about Diddy's knee either. He's apparently had problems with it since 2003 when he ran the New York Marathon. He even had multiple knee surgeries back in 2017. In a now deleted Instagram post, Diddy shared this photo and wrote, quote, "Just had my final knee surgery. They said I'd never run again. I said the devil is a liar, 2 exclamation points. 3 surgeries in 1 year. 3rd time's a charm, 3 exclamation points. Hashtag rebirth. Don't take the simple things in life for granted. Thank you to all the surgeons and docs and PTs. I thank God for y'all. And hashtag team love, hashtag thank you, hashtag God is the greatest." He also wrote, quote, "God puts us all through things for a reason. It's up to us to learn through the things that he puts us through. Sometimes you have to go through the pain to get to the joy. This journey has brought me closer to God, closer to my family, and most importantly, closer to myself. as this has been God's will. So apparently Diddy's knee has been bothering him recently, so he reported it. At some point, it was decided that he needed medical care outside of the jail, so he was taken to a Brooklyn hospital. He was only gone for a couple of hours and came straight back to MDC after his MRI was finished. Diddy's attorney Mark Agnifilo told TMZ, quote, "I cannot comment on anything related to prisoner movements. Also, I'm not commenting on anything related to possible medical issues." A statement from the Federal Bureau of Prisons was released too. It says, quote, "For privacy, safety, and security reasons, we do not comment on the conditions of confinement for anyone in our custody, to include medical status or medical trips."
Diddy's emotional breakdown serves as a poignant reminder that behind the glitz and glamour, there's often a darker reality. The constant scrutiny, the weight of expectations, and the relentless pace of life in the spotlight can be overwhelming, even for someone as seemingly invincible as Diddy. This moment has reignited conversations about the pressures of fame and the importance of mental health, especially for those in the public eye. As we await further updates on this developing story, one can't help but wonder what the future holds for Diddy. Will he be able to overcome these challenges and reclaim his place in the industry? Or is this the beginning of a downward spiral for the once untouchable mogul? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain. This moment will go down in history as a defining chapter in Diddy's life and career. Meanwhile, legal analysts are debating whether this incident will have any impact on Diddy's ongoing cases. Some believe that the footage of his breakdown could sway public opinion in his favor, bringing more attention to the challenges of incarceration and the mental toll it takes.
But for P. Diddy, I can kind of understand why it was at 10 p.m. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm thinking they decided to do this because he's such a high-profile name that they wouldn't want to draw attention to it. I mean, this is an unassuming Thursday night around 10 p.m. Could that be why they decided then to go to the hospital?
Yes, and also, for a couple of reasons, staff, many correctional agencies are short-staffed, so if you're taking someone out with this high-profile person such as P. Diddy, just the nature of who he is going to cause a serious security concern, because you're going to need to be able to stave off, onlookers, fans, media, and the like. And then you also got to think about the security of the hospital and their operations. People are there to try to get better. You have families there to visit their loved ones. And the last thing you need is somewhat, a chaotic environment that's causing concern with security. And also, most people don't know this, but he's actually under the primary custody. He's a what we call a U.S. Marshals inmate, because he's on pretrial status. So the Bureau, the agency, the Bureau of Prisons, oversees, the operations with overseeing the inmates on a day-to-day basis. However, when they're in the hospital for an extended period of time, if there's no deal worked out between the local institution and the local marshal's office, it would be the marshal's responsibility to take custody of that particular inmate. So, but back to your original question, yes, he is definitely taken out at that time. And I'm sure this arrangement was made weeks in advance to make sure that technician or that clinician was going to be available to take a look at whatever issues that he may be experiencing right now.
Others argue that regardless of his emotional state, the facts of the case will determine the outcome. The legal process is complex, and while public perception plays a role, the final verdict will be based on evidence and testimony. Some argue that the prison system is inherently flawed and that it fails to provide adequate mental health support for those who are incarcerated. Others believe that the system is designed to be punitive and that inmates must face the consequences of their actions, regardless of their status or fame. The leaked footage has also sparked a broader conversation about the role of the media in high-profile legal cases. Some argue that the media's coverage of Diddy's situation has been sensationalized and that it has contributed to the public's perception of the case. Others believe that the media has a responsibility to report on the case and to hold those in power accountable. Regardless of where one stands on the issue, it's clear that the media's coverage of the case has had a significant impact on public opinion.
Just last month, Diddy's team officially put in its third attempt for his release, asking that he be put on house arrest. The defense originally wanted Diddy to be held on house arrest at his Star Island mansion in Miami, Florida, one of the places that was actually raided way back in March. But Judge Arun Subramanian shot that down pretty quickly, and it was decided if Diddy was granted bail, he'd be staying in New York, specifically on the Upper East Side in a 3-bedroom apartment. That bail would have come with a $50 million price tag and some major restrictions on Diddy's house arrest. Inside the apartment, there would be 2 live-in guards and another guard downstairs. Diddy wouldn't be allowed to access any phones or the internet unless it was used to contact his legal team. And on top of all of that, there would be a vetted list of people approved to visit Diddy, including his legal counsel and, of course, his family. Diddy's attorney, Mark Agnifilo, said there was a 0% chance that Diddy would be violent if he was released, and even called the bail package a, quote, very, very rigorous set of conditions. This part is wild. He said it was even more strict than the MDC jail. But Judge Subramanian, he didn't bite on that, and Diddy's bail was denied for the 3rd time. According to a report from the Daily Mail, that's why Diddy had a breakdown. A person close to him apparently said, quote, spending the holidays behind bars was a nightmare for him. If we're to believe all this, Diddy had a meltdown in his cell and begged the guards to take him to the hospital for observation, but they refused. This same friend or person told the Daily Mail, quote, he eventually managed to calm himself down with the meditation technique he's been using while he's been behind bars. It took him a few hours of deep breathing and focusing to get out of the bad space he was in, but he finally managed it. This isn't the first time Diddy's mental health has come into question while he's been at MDC.
As the legal battle continues, it's important to remember that there are real people involved in this case. Diddy, his family, and the alleged victims are all affected by the outcome of the case. The emotional toll of the legal battle is evident in the leaked footage, and it serves as a reminder of the human cost of legal battles. As the case continues to unfold, it's important to approach the situation with empathy and understanding, and to remember that there are no easy answers when it comes to issues of justice and accountability. Supporters of Diddy have taken to social media to express their concern, calling for justice and fair treatment. Many believe that high-profile individuals like Diddy often face harsher scrutiny than others, making it difficult for them to receive a fair trial. On the other hand, critics argue that wealth and fame have historically provided certain advantages in the legal system, and Diddy is simply facing the same consequences that any other individual would in his situation.
So we're turning now to former federal prosecutor Nima Rahmani to talk all things Diddy. Nima, thank you so much for coming on with us today.
Of course, Sierra, thanks for having me as always.
Now, some of the reports are that P. Diddy had a breakdown or meltdown over the holidays when he is still at MDC behind bars. What do you make of those reports? Could he have had this meltdown?
I believe the reports, and obviously Diddy is someone who's rich and famous and has lived a life of luxury for many years, and now he's in federal prison during the holidays. So this isn't someone who's a hardened criminal who has spent a lot of time in custody. So the fact that he's spending Christmas and New Year's and future holidays in prison is probably finally getting to him. So I'm not surprised that he cracked.
You're right, it's definitely a change of tune from his lavish mansions and the holiday season to what he's experiencing right now. As far as the mental health side of things, I remember when Diddy was first arrested, he tabs on his mental health. Here in this instance, he apparently was asking for the guards to take him to the hospital so he could be treated there. Is this something that we're going to keep an eye on, Diddy's mental health behind bars?
I think so, and obviously, we haven't seen him, but your colleague Elizabeth has reported that, he looks like he's lost some weight and he has some more gray and white hairs. I think it's taken a toll on him, and I think that he expected, for some reason, that he would be out on bond, and obviously that hasn't happened. There were 3 different bail applications that were denied by 3 different judges, and ultimately they withdrew their appeal. So now that it's hitting him that Diddy's going to be in custody at least until May 2025.
This situation also brings up the broader issue of how celebrities handle public crises. We've seen numerous instances where high-profile figures have faced legal trouble, and the way they navigate these challenges often defines their legacy. Will Diddy's career survive this? That remains to be seen, but history has shown that public figures can bounce back from even the most devastating setbacks if they handle their redemption arc carefully. Others believe that the media has a responsibility to report on the case and to hold those in power accountable. Regardless of where one stands on the issue, it's clear that the media's coverage of the case has had a significant impact on public opinion. As the legal battle continues, it's important to remember that there are real people involved in this case. Diddy, his family, and the alleged victims are all affected by the outcome of the case. The emotional toll of the legal battle is evident in the leaked footage, and it serves as a reminder of the human cost of legal battles.
Combs' lawyer said, look, we didn't even know Combs had been sued, that we just heard about this default judgment in the media. So they immediately contacted the court to get things worked out, and that default judgment was revoked. And the case was also moved from state to federal court. Now, of course, during all this, Combs and his legal team, they are dealing with other major legal fights, including more than a dozen civil lawsuits accusing, as well as, of course, federal criminal charges. Hearing his trial currently scheduled for May of 2025. Now, Combs has always says he is looking forward to proving his innocence in court. Now, going back to Cardell Smith, the fight against Cardell Smith, this wouldn't be an easy one. He has become something of a serial filer of lawsuits and habeas corpus petitions and other filings in state and federal courts, most often representing himself. He's got these long legal filings, sometimes hundreds of pages long. They're full of citations and case law. I will tell you, though, Cardell Smith's personality certainly comes through in some of the language that he uses. He's also a big fan of run-on sentences. But anyway, attorneys for Combs have called out Cardell Smith, specifically that his claims, they say, are wildly untrue. They say his allegations are baseless, that Combs has never met him, that what he's trying to do is extort millions of dollars from a man who's already facing a lot of legal trouble. So they asked the judge to throw this whole case out. And that is what happened. According to the judgment filed in the Eastern District of Michigan, the motion to dismiss was granted. Permission to file an interlocutory appeal was denied, and Combs' motion for sanctions against Cardell Smith was also denied. We're going to talk all about that, but I want to first look at the request for dismissal. So Combs' team says, look, even if this did happen, which they insist it didn't, this case is time barred.
As the case continues to unfold, it's important to approach the situation with empathy and understanding, and to remember that there are no easy answers when it comes to issues of justice and accountability. In conclusion, the leaked footage of Diddy breaking down as he's dragged back to prison has sparked a firestorm of controversy and has brought attention to the broader issues of justice, accountability, and the human cost of legal battles. The footage has had a profound impact on public perception and has sparked important conversations about the treatment of inmates and the need for reform. As the legal battle continues, the world will be watching to see how this story unfolds and what it means for the future of the justice system. Whether or not the footage will have a lasting impact on the case remains to be seen, but one thing is certain: this story is far from over. For now, the world is watching closely. Every new development in this case will be scrutinized and debated, and Diddy's response will be critical. Will he choose to speak out publicly, or will his legal team advise him to remain silent?
So Combs' lawyers want Cardell Smith to be punished in some way for what they say amounts basically to harassment and extortion. We've talked about this before on other sidebars, that if you're a lawyer or you're representing yourself, you can't file frivolous claims and frivolous complaints and frivolous motions. They have to be backed up by the facts, the law. They can't be done just to harass or intimidate anybody. Otherwise, you're going to get on the bad side of the court and you'll be punished. So Combs' team writes, defendant provides several grounds for his request. He alleges that plaintiff, again talking about Cardell Smith, that plaintiff's allegations are wholesale fabrications, plaintiff has forged documents, and plaintiff has filed meritless and duplicative documents. So part of those alleged wholesale fabrications are apparently fake documents. Yeah, Combs and his team say that Cardell Smith filed things with the court that were completely made up. And by the way, even though he's representing himself, he's not immune from sanctions or being punished by the court. You decide to represent yourself, you face the same consequences as any other attorney. So one of those filings, or fake filings, is from back in December. And in it, a person alleging to be Sean Combs admits to have made $35 million. Wow, I can't believe that Sean Combs would admit to all this. My gosh. Well, I want to take a look at this document that was put together by Cardello Smith, which the defense says is complete nonsense. Remember, this is supposed to be in Sean Combs' voice.
How will he address the mental and emotional toll this has taken on him? These are questions that only time will answer. Beyond Diddy's case, this situation highlights the intersection of celebrity culture and the justice system. It raises questions about how the legal system treats public figures, the role of media in shaping narratives, and how mental health concerns should be addressed for incarcerated individuals. These broader discussions will continue long after Diddy's legal battles conclude. So, what do you think about all of this? Is Diddy's breakdown a sign of guilt, or is it simply the result of immense pressure and stress? How do you think this will impact his legacy? Let's keep the conversation going in the comments below. And as always, stay tuned for more updates on this story as it unfolds.